I am a white woman.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Where are all of my peeps? The peeps are not all here. Welcome aboard, Yvette Avery Herod. How you doing, beautiful Yvette? We also have from Atlanta, Georgia. We also have from Kingwood, Atascocita, Eric Hayes. Michael Rudden from Brooklyn, New York. AVQ is in New York City. Anyhow, where are all our peeps? Where are all our peeps? Anyway, we'll go ahead and get started with the expectation that more will come in shortly. But we are currently pretty empty in the chat, though the Twitter and the others are running. Let me see if those mailers went out yet. Because you know what? Wait a minute, wait a minute. I can't believe what I'm reading here. Let me see if I read this stuff correct. Let me see if I read what I just thought I read correctly with the sister of oh my I hope I read that incorrectly. Let's see. Vanessa. All right, I just flashed over on my phone as I picked it up. Vanessa Guillen's sister says she voted for Trump, dismisses allegations. This is a sickness that I don't quite get. Check this out. The sister of Vanessa Guillen, a soldier who was murdered at a Texas military base in 2020, said she voted for former President Donald Trump. It was in response to a report by The Atlantic that says, let me clear this up, a report by The Atlantic that said she had referred to slain soldier as an effing Mexican and complained about the cost of her funeral. Vanessa Guillen, a 20-year-old Army private and daughter of Mexican immigrants, was bludgeoned to death by a fellow soldier at Fort Cavazos, then known as Fort Hood, near Killeen, Texas, in April 2020. Wow, I don't appreciate how you're exploiting my sister's death for politics, hurtful and disrespectful to the important changes she made for service members. Maida Guillen wrote on X, formerly Twitter, in response to the magazine's report. She said Newsweek has contacted Maidan Guillen for additional comments via social media and through an email to her family's attorney. The Atlantic has also been contacted for comment via email. Army Specialist Aaron Robinson, with the help of his girlfriend, dismembered and disposed of Guillen's body in a rural wooded area near the base. He died by suicide shortly after. Trump invited the Guillen family to White House in July that year. At one point in the meeting, he promised to help pay for the funeral. If I can help you out with the funeral, I will help you. I will help you with that, he said. I'll help you out financially. I'll help you. Guillen was buried in a cemetery in Houston, Texas, following the public memorial service about the 2 week after the meeting. Trump asked about the cost of Guillen's funeral during an Oval Office meeting on December 4, 2020. The Atlantic reported on Tuesday. Did they bill us for the funeral? What did it cost? Trump said. The magazine editors in chief Jeffrey Goldberg reported, cited two people present at the meeting. After the aide told Trump that a bill for $60,000 had been received, he became angry, according to the report. It doesn't cost $60,000 to bury a effing Mexican, Trump reportedly said before ordering Mark Meadows, his chief of staff, to pay the bill. Trump spokesperson Alex Pfeiffer denied Trump made the effing Mexican comment. President Donald Trump never said that. This is an outrageous lie from The Atlantic 2 weeks before an election, Pfeiffer said. The Atlantic report that Natalie Coam, the Guillen's family lawyer, said she sent the bill to the White House, but no money was ever received from Trump. Some costs were covered by the Army and others by donations. So no money was received by Trump. Goldberg wrote in a report that Quam provided the magazine with a statement from Maida Guillen shortly after email questions to Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer then emailed the statement, I am beyond grateful for all the support President Trump showed our family during a trying time. The statement said, I witnessed firsthand how President Trump honors our nation heroes' service. We are grateful for everything he has done and continues to do to support our troops. After the report was published, Quam accused Goldberg of misrepresenting their conversation. More importantly, he used and exploited my clients and Vanessa Guillen's murder for cheap political gain, Quam wrote on X, formerly Twitter. Meadows wrote on X that any suggestion that President Trump disparaged Miss Guillen or refused to pay for their funeral expenses is absolutely false. It was nothing but kind, gracious, and wanted to make sure the military and the U.S. government did the right thing by Vanessa. You see how it goes? They didn't pay the bill. What do you think happened there? After the lawyer told the truth, they got paid off to lie. They got paid off to lie. But it turns out Donald Trump didn't pay the bill and he called her an effing Mexican. And then, after the story broke, suddenly she changed and said she's voting for Donald Trump. Ha! Talk about, talk about, talk about criminality. Talk about, oh my God, that is a shame. All right, let's see what else. Anybody else we got in here? Carl Cox is in the house. Welcome, Carl Cox from Riverdale's, Georgia. We also have para ver, Patrick Magner from Houston, Texas. Meow is how he comes in. I think that's about it so far. From let's see, I think that's about it. Okay. Rudden, why are you doing this to me, brother? Let's see. I'll read what I can. If I get too tired, I'll stop, but I'll try to read it. Here we go. Trump reportedly raged at an American soldier funeral. Bill. Oh, that's one I just read. All right. The Atlantic Trump. I need the kind of generals that Hitler had. The Republican nominee preoccupation with dictators and his disdain for the American military is deepening. At a certain point, according to two people present at the meeting with Christopher Miller, Kash Patel, and you know who Kash Patel is, and A. Trump asked, do they bill us for the funeral? Oh, we did that one already. Okay, we did that one already. That's a kind of a repeat. And Raw Story, he'll say, let's say, he'll say anything before an election. Ex-Senator blasts Trump after bombshell report. Yeah, we covered all of that in the story. So, look, folks, as it turns out, yes, Donald Trump is a creep, as we all know, and he will pay people off when he gets into trouble. And you know what? He has deep pockets, very deep pockets. And you know why there are several billionaires and company executives who silently want him to win? Let's talk about that. But let me see if I have anybody else to salute first. Okay, Carl Cox says Michael Rudden, Mike Cisak, and Eric Hayes, like the rest of MAGA crowd, don't have a clue about the government. Hey, Michael Rudden is not MAGA. Michael Rudden is a proud progressive. The government middle class taxpayer goes to the mega rich. Oh, I think you're actually talking to Michael Rudden. I got you. I got you. Okay. All right. Let me tell you something, guys. This is why. This is why a lot of companies are not out there really pushing the for Donald Trump to rightfully not win. And here it goes. I'm going to put it on the screen. 15 big corporations used Trump tax cuts to pump $839 billion into buybacks and dividends. There's nothing to be gained for every Americans by doubling down on the Trump corporate tax breaks. A historic mistake that added trillions to the deficit while threatening critical priorities like Social Security. That tax cut was a transfer of wealth directly from we the people, all of you out there, to rich corporations who then gave it to their rich owners on the order of $839 billion in stock buybacks and dividends. That was money out of your pockets. I want to show you something before I want to do this. What percentage of Americans own stocks? All right. Now, 60% of US adults own stocks, but don't let that fool you. The first time the annual range has been at 61%. Let me tell you the joke about that. The low point is 52%. All those stocks are owned in things called mutual funds, etc., which is a very small percentage. Here is the other question. Who owns most stocks in America? And here we go. The top 1%, let's go ahead and show you this, folks. The top 1%, the wealthiest 1% of Americans own 50% of all stocks in the country. 50%. The top 10%, listen to this, guys, this is important, own 87% of all stocks in the country. Let's go a little bit further. The bottom 50% owns, listen to this, 1% of all stocks in the country. I say this again, it's important. The bottom 50% owns 1% of the stocks in this country. So as you can see, the top 10%, if you give a tax cut of 89, let's call it $1 trillion to round it off, $1 trillion, a tax cut of $1 trillion, and it goes back into buybacks. That's 87% of that $1 trillion goes to the top 10%. And the bottom 50% gets 1%. That's what wealth transfer looks like. That's what legalized robbery looks like. Let's see what that is. Inequality. I don't think. How long is it? Let's see. I think I've seen this one before, but let me see if this is a video or not, because I have to be careful. Our good friend Robert Reich is the one who puts this out, right? I'll fix one up to play. I'll fix one up to play. Okay, but here's the deal. Here is the deal. Oh, it's an article. Okay, it's the article. Let's go for it then. The richest 1% own a greater share of stock market than ever before. Here it goes. The new Federal Reserve analysis of stock market has found that the concentration of ownership of the public equity stock market has hit an all-time high. The rich now owns a record, according to Axios, that the top 10% holds about, oh, I was wrong. The numbers are wrong. Now, this is newer data as of January 18, 2024, this year. The top 93% of the stocks market is owned by 10% of Americans. Okay? That means that anytime you give a tax break on capital gains and dividends, you are transferring the wealth of the majority to a small minority. You know how they fool you? They like to say, well, 60% of Americans own stocks. So that's a tax cut for everybody. But they don't tell you how much. Hey, you know what? I wanted to play a game. So I went and I got me, what is this stuff called? Robinhood. And I put $50 in Robinhood. I said, I want to see how this thing works. Where's the video, Magner? If you go ahead and find the video and stick the link in there, I'll play it. Think about this, right? I put $50 into Robinhood just to see how things work. Guess what? I am part of that people that own stocks now. So you see how easy it is to own stock? So when you hear that number that 61% of people don't own stocks, you have the next question is, but how much of the stock market do they actually own? And as you can see, it's little. So it's a transfer of wealth. So let's go back to the story at hand until somebody give me that link that Patrick was telling me about. Here it goes. Let's get to the link here. The 15 largest corporate beneficiary of former President Donald Trump's 2017 tax law have dumped a combined $839 billion into executive-rich stock buybacks and dividends since the measure passes, according to research released Wednesday by the progressive watchdog group Accountable US. The new analysis, which cites figures from the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, was published amid an ongoing congressional debate over whether to extend the tax cuts of 2016 law that are set to expire at the end of next year. It also comes as Trump, the Republican presidential nominee, is campaigning on a fresh round of tax cuts for the wealthy and large corporations. Republican lawmakers, bolstered by an army of corporate lobbyists, have signaled that they are prepared to quickly ram through new tax breaks if Trump wins the presidency and the GOP secures control of the House and Senate in next month's election. In other words, they intend to blow up the budget. They intend to cut Social Security. They intend to cut Medicare. That's the only way they can do it. Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee, has proposed raising the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28%. In other words, having these thieves pay their fair share. The biggest corporate winners of the Trump tax giveaway used their massive windfall, mostly to pad profits, and enrich a small group of wealthy investors instead of raising their workers' wages and lowering prices for consumers. Accountable.us President Caroline Ciclone said in a statement, "There's nothing to be gained for everyday Americans by doubling down on the Trump corporate tax breaks, a historic mistake that added trillions to the deficit while threatening priorities like Social Security and Medicare," which is what they're doing. Right, folks? Understand this. Why are the billionaires wanting Trump into the office? Because they don't care about blowing the budget. They can make all the money that they want, put it into hard assets, and skip town, skip the country. They're taking your money because remember, no billionaire made that money. I repeat, no billionaire made those billions. Neither Musk, nor Bill Gates, nor any of them. Patrick, it looks like it's not sending the link. You may want to go to create an account on Twitch because it seems like YouTube is not allowing links to be sent. Ask brother Rudnin. He knows how to do it. All right, folks. So here's the deal. Whenever you hear there are tax cuts that are coming for people who have capital, remember that's money out of your pocket in several ways. And let me explain this. This is very important. Number one, the tax cut is money that they can't spend on services to you. All right? Now, since they're not going to completely cut these services, what they then have to do is borrow money to pay for the services that the taxes from the tax cuts would have otherwise paid. So what do? They borrow the money from the same people they gave the tax cuts to. So those people lend back their money that would have been taxes that we would just have used. They lend back that money to us, and then we are responsible to pay them, the people who got the tax cuts, interest for borrowing the money from them. So that's two ways they get money. One, they get money from the tax cut. They also get money from the interest by loaning us the money for the deficit spending they caused. But here's a third way they make money. And they make money when the company buys back the stock and the stock appreciates. That's more money that they make. If you cannot understand the grand theft that represents, folks, if you don't see the grand theft that represents, we're blind. When you have right-wingers constantly singing the capitalist crap, right? What they fail to do is because of their own ideology. They can't see that the wealthy, thank you, I'm going to look it up, that the wealthy is taking them to the cleaners. Now, any thinking person would say, wait a minute, tax cut create deficit spending. Deficit spending requires borrowing money. We pay an extra monies to those we borrow from, and the people who got the tax cut invest that money in stock buybacks, which causes the appreciation of the stock, which gives them even more money. And when they sell those stocks, they pay less taxes on those monies than the person who goes out and work every day. Well, hell, isn't it great to be rich? You get it? And the thing about it, people, is very few people know that. We do. The politics done right folks know that. And you know what else? The ones that are thinking will say immediately, we can't have that. We can't have that. We can't have that. Okay, I pulled it up. Okay, let's see if I can play that now. Does it have sound? I think it does. Let me set it up to play. I think I can play it now. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Welcome to the L curve. This is a graph of the income distribution of the United States. Picture the population of the United States lined up on a football field, with the poorest person on the far left and the richest person on the far right. The vertical scale on this graph is income, represented by stacks of $100 bills. Let's zoom in and look at the family on the 50-yard line. The median income in the United States, the middle income, is about $40,000. That would be a stack of $100 bills about 1.5 inches high. The majority of Americans lie along the horizontal branch of this graph. It's a long, gradual ramp from essentially zero at the far left to $100,000 at the 95-yard line. $100,000 would be a stack of $100 bills 4 inches high. At the 99-yard line, the graph rises to about 1 foot. This represents an income of about $300,000. When we get to the top 1/3 of 1%, 1 foot from the goal line, we hit the $1 million mark. $1 million is a stack of $100 bills 1 meter high. 1 meter is about 40 inches. From there, the graph rises sharply. As we zoom out, we see a tree on the left. This is the height of the giant sequoias, a pretty good picture of what $100 million looks like. The height of this frame is 1 kilometer, a little over half a mile. A stack of $100 bills 1 kilometer high would be $1 billion. Remember that a billion is 1,000 times a million. A kilometer is 1,000 meters. If 1 meter represents $1 million, a kilometer would be $1 billion. There are about 400 billionaires in the United States. It's hard to talk about income at this level because this kind of wealth doesn't come every month in a paycheck. This is almost entirely investment income. Most people make money based on their labor, but money makes money in our economy far more efficiently than what can be earned from labor. As we continue to zoom, we see there is a mountain behind us. The sequoias don't grow in Nepal, but this mountain represents the height of Mount Everest. It's a good picture of what $10 billion looks like. We come now to the top of the stratosphere and the top of our graph. At the 50-kilometer mark, we see Bill Gates' greatest increase in net worth in 1 year. His overall wealth rises and falls with the stock market, but was reputed to be about $100 billion at one point. Other families have comparable wealth. The Walmart fortune, for instance, is shared by several members of the Walton family, but their total wealth is even greater than the Microsoft fortune. As we zoom back in, try to take it all in. The next time some politician talks about tax cuts, ask yourself whose taxes are being cut and at whose expense.
All right, folks. Let me tell you, that particular video is
There's a chart I saw
17
recently that I can't get out of my
years
head.
old.
A Harvard business professor and economist asked more
Let
than
me go ahead and
5,000
stop it
Americans.
here. I want to see if those numbers are so off now. It's so much worse now, and I don't think this site has been updated recently. Looking to see if it looks like it's been updated. I don't think it has been updated recently. But anyway, so you get a chance to see the theft that we have here. And here's the problem. As long as we have, thank you, Patrick, as long as we have people who continue to allow themselves to be snowed, like let's say brother CSAC and Eric Hayes, it makes our life harder to make the necessary changes. But here's the good news. The good news is as we get folks like Kamala Harris elected, that arrests slow down that disaster. And we start electing more people that understands real economics, we can turn this around. But the most important things that I want to get out of you, even as they say, 61% of Americans own stocks. But again, 87% of all stocks are owned by 10% of Americans. I'm sorry, 93% of all stocks are owned by 10% of Americans. The wealth. And that's why I tell people that when they lie to you and tell you, you can tax people enough, you can tax the rich enough, it's a lie. Because that's where all the income and that's where all the assets are with the rich. And the amount that they actually have, people are humongous. Don't let anybody fool you. That's a statement of fact. So it is time for us, we can't do it all at once, but it's time for us to start taking back what was stolen from us, albeit legally. It is time for us to start taking back what was stolen. And again, like I said, no billionaire, I repeat, no billionaire earned their billions. It is an aberration in our economic system that allows them to profit from the work of us in the aggregate. And that is what we have to mitigate. That is what we have to fix. That is whenever we get the mindset that understands the unfairness of a system where people, based on the labor of many others, can just rake in everything and have no way to recover that, that is inherently unfair. That is inherently wrong. That is inherently evil. And to put it bluntly, it is known as thievery. It is known as thievery. And that's what it is. It's time to put away leftists who want to thief from those who earned our wealth. They didn't earn their wealth. Again, I would consider myself a thief if I took away from the billionaire that which they earned. But they didn't earn it. Somebody else earned it for them. But we designed an economic system that defined legal robbery. Okay? Our economic system legally defines robbery of a certain type. You get a guy that runs into a barroteria, runs into a convenience store and steals a cigarette, and the law comes down on him. They want to kill him. My dear brother Patrick Magner, talk to me.
Hey, how are you doing?
I am doing great, my friend. Talk to me.
We talk about billionaires a lot. A couple weeks ago, Ray called in, had a really good call, and we were talking about billionaires. He brought up Oprah, and then somebody else in the chat brought up Swift. And when he had something, he just mentioned Oprah, and then somebody said, "Oh, he's talking badly about Oprah." The first thing that we need to really understand is you say that nobody earned this. That is 100% correct. Most of it has to do with luck, whether you were born into a family that already had the money, or if you just happen to have everything go right. Yet another caller on KPFT that I believe it was Donald. I like Donald a lot, but he said he was trying to challenge you, and he said, so Bruce Springsteen didn't earn his money?
Did you hear my response to that?
Yeah, you had a good response, but mine would have been a lot more efficient and shorter. I would have said no, it was luck. Because if it was something that he earned, it would be something that other people could go in and duplicate. They could have his level of talent, and they could have the same drive and put the same effort in, but they don't make the same outcome.
Let me tell you why.
That tells you that.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say that tells you they don't earn it.
Yeah,
That's Musk.
let me tell you why
Go ahead.
yeah, let me tell you why I explain it the way I do, right? Because Bruce Springsteen has a talent that many of us don't have. And guess what? Guess what, Patrick? You have a talent I don't have. And guess what, Michael Rudnin? You have a talent I don't have. And I have a talent you don't have. And guess what, Yvette Avery Herod? You got a talent I don't. So all of us have, we are an amalgamation of talents, right? Now, the question is, how do you price talent, right? And this is what's so interesting about our economic system, right? I love Bruce Springsteen. I love Oprah Winfrey. I love Taylor Swift. All of them. But here's one truth. Hello, Paul Fleming. Here's one truth. We can live without Oprah Winfrey. We can live without Taylor Swift. We can live without brother Springsteen. But we can't live without those doctors that fix us up. We can't live without that guy who drives a train. We can't live without the guy who keeps the sanitation, right? So we have we can live without the stockbroker. We have an interesting way where we have priced things not commensurate with the value to society, right? Because all you got to do is take Springsteen out of the equation. Does society survive? Yes. Take doctors out of the equation. Does society survive? No. Take teachers out of the equation. Does society survive? No. So given that we know that inherently we have an economic system that doesn't price wealth commensurate with value to society, we should, in fact, have something called redistribution, etc. So it is very important. And again, your answer, I agree with your answer. Luck plays a lot to do. You know, my wife's church, there are singers in her church that are much better singers, in my opinion, when you listen to tonality and all of that, than Beyonce. But Beyonce is the one with the millions or the billions, right? So you're absolutely right with that statement as well, my brother.
I still say you're too generous because you say that these are good billionaires. If these people were good, they wouldn't have ever accumulated $1 billion because they would have been helping everybody else around them.
Well, let me
Taylor
just say
Swift,
this. Let me just say this. I want to be. Let me tell you why I have to be nice, right? And tell me if you don't agree. Yeah, redistribution is a good thing, Eric, whether you like it or not. Here's the thing. That's not what our society teaches. Taylor Swift learned that she really made the monies that she made. That's what she's learned. That's how we were indoctrinated. If we weren't indoctrinated in that way, then yeah. But that's how they were indoctrinated from birth. That's the reason why also I consider several of our people in the chat right now racist. Do I not like them because they're racist? No, what allows me to still like them is that they're exhibiting exactly how they were reared. And what we're trying to do is modify that. But anyway, continue, my brother.
well, I am critical of you saying that they're nice because I don't think they are.
I got it, and that's fine.
Easy one that an easy one to tear down that so many people revere is Oprah Winfrey. This is a woman that had to name a magazine after herself. She had to put a picture of herself on almost every single front cover. She brought us people like Dr. Phil, who isn't even a doctor, who did great damage to the political system.
Very true.
Instead of teaching people to be happy with themselves, she's constantly talking about dieting and things. She's an attractive woman. She should have just learned how to love herself. And then when her the island that she lives on burns down, instead of her opening her savings account to build back her home, she came to the Commons and asked them to donate.
You know, that was hurtful. That is a very good observation, and I always wonder about that. You always have these billionaires saying, "Oh, we'll put in $50,000." It sounds like a lot to us. To them, it's chump change, right? It's something that they write off and make the goodwill that they get from giving $50,000 or $1 million plus the write-off comes out to more than what they actually give. It is amazing that, and what you just said there is absolutely true. But again,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say that $50,000 price tag that he threw out. It's been a few years ago, years since this, but Taylor Swift, she threw out that $50,000 after one of these storms, and I thought a couple of people I share my point of views with billionaires about, and one of them said, well, what about Taylor Swift? She just donated $50,000. Well, I scaled my income versus her income for that year, and it came to about a $3 donation when it
Yeah,
scaled to my income.
right.
So and when Taylor threw that $50,000 out there, she's like, "Oh, it's your turn now."
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
My turn
yeah.
to do what? To get
Right.
$3? Come on.
Yeah. That
That's what, five of her tickets to one of her shows.
look.
Come on.
Hey, come on, Patrick. I can't disagree with anything that you've said there, right? But we have to find a way to get to these people. As long as we have folks like, if you read the commentary from, let's say, CSEC and Eric in there, you can't help but feel a bit sorry for the mindset that was that got into these guys, and how corrosive it is, and how corrosive and how permanent it seemed to be. You know, good.
Yeah,
I mean,
Eric was trying to defend Musk the other day when you were talking to him about dumping water, heated water. You're not supposed to dump it in the atmosphere, and he broke the
right.
law. And then
Yes.
Eric was critical of you for saying that, yeah, he should have paid a fine. Musk will never even notice that money. I mean,
No.
that's a joke to even think that money mattered to him at all. But we're reared to defend these people who don't even need this money.
And who don't
Eric
even
is
care
defending
about
somebody
us.
that doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's frustrating.
yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing, Patrick, and this is what I love, right? If there's so many of us that there are three groups, right? They're the sycophants, those that they just take the information and they believe all the crap that's being told on the right. There are those that are genuinely that they're really ignorant to how an economy works altogether, and they're open to learn, and that is the group that we really try to tackle. We hope that some of that rubs off on the Erics and the CSACs. We hope some of it rubs off, but that's not who we're in this game for. We're in this game for that group of folks that just don't know, and there's a lot more of those folks that just don't know than the Erics and the thing. It's just that the Erics and the CSACs are the ones that have a lot of volume, but when I show you the emails that I get, brother, from people who are like, I didn't know that. From the MAGA person that I turned on to Obamacare, who was like ecstatic when she realized she was in a bubble and now she's released. From the people that we talk about, Medicare Advantage, who was able to go. I mean, it is just wonderful, and let me just give a kudos to you, and all the supporters in here that support what we do here at Politics Done Right locally and Politics Done Right at KPFT. Uh, I have to commend all of you for seeing the purpose in what we're doing. So, and not only in the financial giving, but also in the contributing with your stories and the contributing with your point of view. I turned a couple of your stuff into blogs as well. So all of this is very important for what we do. So please tell other people to join us and invite other people to come in and make sure we are spreading this message, because again, when you get these groups together like this is how, believe it or not, this is sort of how folks like CSEC and all of them got hoodwinked, because they were members of these communities, right? So thank you, buddy.
Yeah, this is how democracy started in Greece and forums. The rich
Hmm.
people got together and just talked.
Yep, there you go. So thank you, my brother. Anything else you want to talk
Thank you
about?
for your time.
All right, great.
No, sir. Thank you.
All right, have a good one. All right, let's see. Egberto plagiarized via Patrick. Isn't that what the VP did? If that's what the VP did, then we don't even have anything to talk about, because Eric loved that we went ahead and spread his word even further. So I'm pretty sure that if the VP, if that's what you're talking about, it means that you are completely misled. All right, let me see what else I got here to read from people. Let's see. Robert, thank you so kindly for your super chat. Robert says, greetings, progressives. Vote early, donate often. Allred for U.S. Senate 2024. Hey, my California brother is following Texas politics. Thank you, brother. And I appreciate your super chat. Couldn't do this without you, sir. I could not do this without all of your support. All right, let's see what else we got here. So Melissa Blue is in the house. What's up, Houston? She says, I need Eric to keep researching all the countries that owe reparations. He'll see that they all owe. Exactly, sis. This morning on KPFT, we were talking about reparations. And believe it or not, even though Brian is against reparations, what Brian said actually opened the door for even more reparations. I was so happy to hear that. It was so funny, man. It was so funny. All right, let's see what else have we got here. I'm scrolling up. Paul Fleming says, billionaire TikTok investor Jeff Yass has been reported as a possible cabinet member if Trump wins. Here's the inside story of how Yass avoided paying $1 billion in taxes and used his richest fund to win. I guess if Trump wins for sure, TikTok will stay alive. But don't worry, folks. If Trump loses, TikTok will still stay alive. And I want to say something about TikTok. Let me hear from Breach first. Breach says, Egberto Willis probably won't be here much till after the election. Hard to listen to ignorant MAGA and others reacting to them. Can't give medicine to the dead, wasting your time and filling up feed. Why bother? We know you know the truth, repeating it to them who were supposed to ignore months and months ago. SMH, I need positive in my life. News about election and candidates, not polls so much, but not negative conspiracy crap. Eric fills up the feed with BS, as does Mike. You can hardly read the good posts to others that others put up. It's a pain in the ass, by the way. Not sure if people notice, but Lee has been gone for a bit. Hope he's okay. Maybe he's fed up with the opposite reason. Either way, can't these take people anymore? I need to find Lee. I thought about Lee a couple days ago. I haven't seen him in a while. My hunch is that he's on vacation, but does Lee come in on Facebook or does he come in on YouTube? I don't quite remember. Uh, can I tell you what? I know he's on the other side, Beach, but can I ask you as a task to find Lee for me and let him know that we've been asking about him, please? And let me tell you, bye bye MCP Eric Hayes. Don't do that. Let me tell you something. Bridge MCP is dear to me, and before she's bye bye, if I felt that she was bye bye forever, for the people that are caustic, I would bye bye them. So please don't dare talk about bye bye on Bridge MCP or Yvette Avery Herod or our dear sisters. These are the stalwarts of politics done right. All right. Let's see what else we got here. So please, I don't block people, but if it comes at the health of my posse, anybody in my posse, then I act. All right. Melissa said, "Oh, Brian, yes, they sound." Okay, let's continue here. Let's go up. And Vinich, I'm with you, sis. But we have so many out there. I'm not talking about the guys that are misinforming, like Eric and CSEC. I'm talking about people that are really listening to the podcast, and the emails are telling me we're making a difference. And our newcomer, Magner, Patrick, gets a lot of good responses from the statements that he makes. Even this morning, as he was on at KPFT, the uplift from him was very positive. So I understand if you have to kind of step out for a while, Bridge. Just know, baby, that family, if I didn't see you today, I was going to be calling you. Yvette knows if I don't see her, I'm going to be, hey, Yvette, what the hell is wrong? Is there everything okay? I mean, I'm not really bugging on anybody. It's just a genuine concern. Just like we're concerned about where it what God who did Bro, I'm going crazy. Bree just asked about him, and I forgot his name. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about, Bree. So check up on him for me and let me know. All right, we are at 51 right now. I have one video to show. Oh, that 8-minute video, I can't show it. But a friend of mine today called me and said, Egberto, I'm so scared about the election. And I'm like, look, Kamala is going to win. Just go out there and do your job. And she said, yes, but you know, black men are not voting the way they should. And she's a good friend, a white woman, good friend of mine. And I said, look, stop talking about black men. You go out there and call all your white sisters. They'll listen to you before they listen to me, and get them to go out there and vote. If they're not voting, make sure they vote and make sure they vote appropriately. I'm going to play you what she sent me. She said, Egberto, I wrote an article for you. And I said, okay. And then after I read it, I said, can you go ahead and say it so I can play it on our program? And she said, okay. So let me read what Bridge, who sent this up? Michael said first. Here is the truth. Trump supporters don't measure his success by what he does for them. They measure by what he does against people they don't like. That's why they see him as being successful. This is why they will never abandon him. His tormenting of the others sustain them. Wow. Wow. Sometimes you think you're so damn smart, and when it's right in front of you, you miss it. Michael, that's one of the best ones you've sent to date. And you sent a lot of good ones, but this one is profound. All right, listen to my big sister, what she had to say today.
I am a white woman. Hear me roar, yell, scream, shout out loud against Donald Trump. Excuse me while I gargle because I vomited out his name. Donald Trump is the mother of all fathers. Sisters of every color unite. To put it mildly, Donald Trump is a garbage bag of sociopathic, parasitic, pathological, psychological, non-logical problems, which means we women must unite to never let this diaper load of unadulterated shit anywhere, even near the grounds of the White House. The smell alone should put any woman with nostrils and a brain off. Not to mention his tawdry tongue that mouths off the vilest of obscenities, his rabid racism, his disdain for the military, his clear toxic phobia about the rule of law, his very obvious un-Americanisms, his deep-seated greed and grift, and his turning his candidacy into the home shopping network, his toady toddler tantrums, his squeaky weak megalomania, his whiny childishness, his hilarious love of Hitler, that's not funny at all, and his love of self, that's so all-encompassing, there's no room for even affection for anyone else. And not to mention his 34 felonies, his loyalty to Putin, which far exceeds his loyalty to America, the carnage of his mind, his history of rape and sexual assault, his coveting of our nation's most closely guarded state secrets, which I have no doubt he gave to his dearly beloved Vlad the Cad Putin. And then there's his hubris, his ignorance, his blinding stupidity, his kindergarten dropout vocabulary, his fast galloping dementia. And above all, and as any woman who has ever read Vogue magazine, which I have religiously, in her life will tell you that you put on makeup, don't forget your little pink ears and multiple necks. And for Pete's sake, use a makeup sponge, not a trowel. My name is Eileen Proctor, and I strongly approve this message.
And you know why I went ahead and played that negative message? Because just before she sent me that, I watched a preview of not a preview, a post view of how Trump addressed Kamala Harris, and he called her every name possible, dumb, stupid, all these things. And I said, you know what? Maybe we need to get some more stuff out there. Just I notice I'm talking about we're hitting these big guys. We're not hitting personal folks and all that stuff. Maybe we need to get some of these folks out there to put some of this out there because maybe if we get the same number of people saying, well, actually, Trump, you're looking in the mirror. So that's what Elaine, nobody would believe who this woman is. This woman actually is a publicist for quite a few stars in Hollywood. And she just moved, believe it or not, to Asheville last year. And what welcomed her this year? A hurricane. Luckily, she's up in the parts of the hills that didn't get affected too much. But anyway, folks, let's see what else we've got here. Robert Davenport says, I approve that message also. How accurate and right on point. You're so right, Robert Davenport. You're so right. Folks, please remember to share these programs. It's so important for us to get more traction. I get throttled a lot. If I take on certain subjects, I get throttled a lot. I remember I took on a subject the other day, and the YouTube went through the roof. I'm like, what happened? Oh, it was nothing about Trump or controversial. But anyway, folks, we're coming close to the end of the program, and it's time for me to do my ask. And my ask says, please go ahead and support the program. And there are many ways to support the program. I'm going to first do it the way Bridge MCP told me to do it. And to remind folks that, hey, guess what? You know, we actually have stuff, right? We have merch. So please consider getting our merch. And how can you get our merch? You can get our merch by going to politicsdoneright.com/store. And if you want to know what our merch looks like, this is what our merch looks like. Let me put it on the screen. You can get your t-shirts and your hats and our cups. And by the way, this one that you see me right there, that one, guess who designed that particular one? That was designed by Bridge MCP, right? That's that one, Bridge MCP. Okay. Anyhow, folks, so please consider going to politicsdoneright.com/store to get some of our merch. But you know what else we'd like to get from you? We'd like for you to, if you want to find all the different ways to support us, you can go to politicsdoneright.com/support. Politicsdoneright.com/support. That has all the different ways in which you can support the program. But I have an ask, and that ask is for all of you to become subscribers, paid subscribers of Politics Done Right via our newsletters. You get our newsletter, you get to read all of our books for free online in the Substack app. If you become a paid member, and it's cheap, go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. I have a message from Melissa Bowie. Melissa, I was going through our support at KPFT, and I want to give you a big thank you and a big air hug. Whenever I see you at the station, now that you are officially a board member, a local station board member at KPFT, whenever we have our next in-house meeting, and by the way, I'm stepping off the board at KPFT. I've termed out, but I will come to an in-person meeting just to meet you in person. I want to thank you so kindly for supporting Politics Done Right at KPFT and Politics Done right here as well. Because remember, there are two different Politics Done Right. There's a KPFT and there's here. And you are a supporter of both. And I thank you, just like Peggy Lopez is a supporter of both. And I thank you all for your wonderful support of the program. Now, again, I need a lot more subscriptions to our newsletter. So please consider going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. I need to get help. I need to get folks to help with my videos, with help. The 16 hours I can't keep up forever. I'm getting old, So please become a subscriber and you get a lot for your investment. All my books, current and the other books that I'm writing, and I am in fact writing some other books right now. You will forever be able to read my books at no further charge. So, my dear friends, I got to get out of here. But go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, subscribe. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.